Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Hamley. Hey, listen, take a break from the hustle and bustle of this holiday season, and for the next hour, enjoy your favorite hot beverage or have some lunch while you listen to some Christmas and Kwanzaa tales of the season. Master storytellers LaQuita and Staten, also known as Atumpan, present stories that will delight and inspire. If you love to get lost in a great tale, then you are in for a treat, because Atumpan will share several stories. The Another View holiday special will begin in a moment, so sit back, relax, and stay with us.
Discussing today's topics from an African American perspective, this is Another View.
Hello and happy holidays to everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Hamley. 'Tis the season, and what better way to celebrate Christmas and Kwanzaa than by listening to some great stories. I am so excited to introduce to you master storytellers Corey and LaQuita Staten, also known as Atumpan. Hi.
Hey,
how are you guys doing?
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Oh,
Great.
we are
Thank you.
so excited to have you here. So before we get into the stories, and I know we got some great ones to tell today, which is great, but I want to find out about your story because, Corey, as you introduced yourself to me via email, and before you said you are the great blind man,
I'll
or
take
something
that.
to that
But
effect.
I might have to change my name now because I usually go by Corey, the talented blind guy.
The talented
but I
blind guy.
Corey,
But you
the
like
great
the great blind man.
That's
No, we're
I
not
think
changing.
that's
You said, please don't give him
more
any more, right?
appropriate. Yes. So you've heard it, Hampton Roads. Barbara Hamley has christened me Corey, the great blind man. That is it from here on out.
Oh, God.
Well,
Go ahead, LaQuita.
I will say that either way, whether you call him Corey the talented blind guy, Corey the great blind man, whatever facetious title you're going to give him, people always get confused. They don't realize that he really is blind. He cannot see. They think, oh, he works on blinds or mini blinds or delivers blinds.
Right.
I don't know. So I don't know if hopefully that title will help, a
my
change in
goodness.
it. But Corey is talented. He's a
Yeah.
storyteller. He's a musician. He's an educator. And he's a better storyteller than I am. I will admit that.
And she's a better musician than I am. I'll admit that.
Yes.
And that's why the two of you work so well together.
And that is true. And it's something that started out. Again, I lost my vision when I was 19 years old due to pseudotumor cerebri, which is basically translates into a false brain tumor, and all the symptoms point to the fact that you have a brain tumor, and because you start having swelling on your spinal tissue, and they do all sorts of tests, but none of my tests came back positive or anything like meningitis. So what finally manifested as the issue was that my vision started to get blurry, and so it started in September with headaches and flu-like symptoms, and
Blurred
by blurred
vision.
vision, and by the beginning of November, just a month before my 19th birthday, I found out that I woke up in the hospital in a world of darkness, and everything just changed from there. And I've always been a visual learner, a visual person. I had to see it in order for me to perform it, whether that was playing football when I was in high school. I had to see the playbook and actually look at the diagrams versus the coach just telling me what to do. And when it came to helping to repair the car or the lawnmower engine, I had to watch my father do it. And so to lose that aspect of life was difficult because I had to shift to being an auditory learner, and I had to use my other senses. Not that they got better, but I just had to depend on them more. And so with the shifting to the auditory learning, it took me a while to get myself back together and decide what I wanted to do. And when I knew I wanted to teach, but I didn't want to teach in a formal setting. So while I was at Old Dominion University, go Monarchs, I was
Summa cum laude graduate, by the way.
Summa cum laude, 3.99 GPA. Yes, I'm Corey the great man. But that all came through this wonderful support of faith, family, and friends.
It was also before ebooks, though. Because I was scanning books. We were married by the time he was in college and had graduated. And I would scan the books page by page and then edit And it wasn't what we have now, where if you scan something in, it is what it is.
Or you just order an ebook.
Right.
Like
there was
that.
no ebook, yeah. And so it was a tedious process, and Corey was really diligent. He had learned to use his talking software, and he had learned, those skills at the Center for the Blind. And so by the time he graduated, summa cum laude, he was an expert technologically by then.
So Corey, did you have to read, LaQuita, did you have to read to Corey the books or
Sort
you?
of. I feel like that's the way it felt because I would like read each chapter for him, but then he would have the computer read it to him. I was simply reading it to edit.
Okay.
So I would scan the pages in, I would read it, and then I would read the screen. I would read the book pages, and I would make changes because sometimes if there were images, it would distort the text on the screen
from the computer.
Yes,
Gotcha.
and so I would have to adjust those things. And reading directly to Corey, I didn't do the talking software. It would read everything directly to him. So nowadays, now that he has an ebook, that still works the same way. Now that we just have online access all the time without dial-up, because that's what we were using back then too, then, it's very easy. So whenever he goes to the Redskins website or the Smithsonian website or wherever, then it reads the screen, it reads the tabs, and he can navigate.
So that's how you read my email.
Yes, yes. And that throws a lot of people when I tell them, I'm Corey, the talented blind guy or the great blind man.
I started something, didn't I?
You did.
It throws them off. Well, if you're blind, how do you check emails? And I have to sit there and explain, well, there's a talking software system called Job Access with Speech that's created by Freedom Scientific. It's called JAWS. It helps me to access the internet. It helps me to do Word documents. I can even do Excel spreadsheet files. So, so like I said, that's basically how I made it through college. But when I was in college, I discovered that, yes, my vision is gone. When you sit there in a class for an hour and a half with the professor, and in 1619, the first Africans arrived in the Virginia colony as slaves.
Lecture.
And therefore, and with to and however and whither, this, that, and the third, and this, you're like, oh my goodness. And everybody else is looking at this wonderful PowerPoint presentation. I'm just sitting there like,
you have to listen.
Yeah, I have to listen. So at that point, I discovered, okay, I don't want to stand up in front of a classroom and ever teach in a way that does not capture the multiple modalities of intelligence, the way people learn. So LaQuita and I both have always had a passion for education and educating others and sharing our knowledge and gifts with people. And we decided that what we wanted to do was to take some theoretical frameworks that I was learning as a communications major at Old Dominion University, and through her studies that she was doing with on the research of Dr. Michael Gardner with the multiple intelligences, we crafted what we call the PVC pipeline for learning, and that's based on the noted scholars of Jean Piaget, Lev Vygotsky, and Noam Chomsky, and where we understand that people learn and create schemas or patterns for learning within their minds, and that they hear information 7 times, 7 different ways. It allows them to actually it allows them to
digest the
information and to capture the information and remember it. And it crafted our style because LaQuita's a dancer and a fabulous musician, and so she captures not only the visual aspects with her movement and her music while we're doing our educational programs. I'm doing the audio with different voices and the call response style of the griots of West Africa, and
it creates that intrapersonal relationship. People are learning from each other because something that they may miss is repeated next to them, and they catch it the next time. Yes, and then they also learn, from themselves as well. Just the repetition of it, the rule of 7. It's a popular rule, and these are the communication theories that we subscribe to. To specifically say, well, as educators, you got to go back to the original. But a lot of people are familiar with the rule of 7, and we use it. It's effective and it's impactful. And so for learning, it works. And this theatrical presentation that we have, it really sticks to the audience. It stays with them, according to the educators. That's what they tell us after our presentations. Yeah, we don't just
you go all over. You do presentations all over.
Yes,
schools and different groups and
universities
and so forth. Universities
libraries,
and so forth.
conferences.
Nice.
We travel the Mid-Atlantic region. Going to different venues to make presentations of audiences of all types and ages. And we we tell everybody that the rule of 7 works regardless of the age of the audience, and it works regardless of any other demographics. And especially in Williamsburg, when we see groups that come from California, Hawaii, we see thousands of students over the course of our season in Williamsburg. And each time we do a storytelling presentation, the adults will come up and say, you know, this was by far the best presentation we've seen on this whole tour.
They do say that.
They do, because they come
out.
There's, you know, we were jet lagged, the kids were tired, and you guys came in. You had the music, you had the call response, repetition,
and you had
the information, the facts, the actual historical facts that we try to teach in a semester. You took a whole semester's worth of work and put it into a 50-minute presentation that I could never encapsulate, and they thank us for it. They leave testimonials for us and to tell the public just how our presentation style works. And you can hear when the children leave, they're actually still repeating some of the things that they learned. And it's wonderful. And, you know, we get tagged in different Instagram posts and things of that nature. The
teachers, or you don't even use Instagram. How do you know?
Well, you read it to me. Hashtag Atumpan. That's all I know. I don't know how to use it, but she reads the post to me, and they're all, you know, they're all positive feedback from the teachers and the students.
Let me go back and make one thing clear, because we got a question from Facebook. Some people were confused about the series of 7, and that's the repetition 7 times of a thought. Is that?
Yes.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
So what'll happen is we'll layer the information. So a classic example for us would be in our anti-bullying presentation. Sometimes bullies use their fist or they use their words to make people feel bad or to make people do something that they don't want to do. So then we'll come back and repeat that again. We'll have the audience fill it in with, I'll say, sometimes bullies use their
fists
or their
words
to make people
feel bad or do something they don't want to do.
So you have you hear the musical reinforcement, you hear the call response reinforcement, and then we'll have a dance that actually goes along with that same information. So that's how we always hit it 7 or more times. When we want a point to stick, we do 7 or more times that repetition, and it works.
And it works.
Yeah.
Well, then let's get to some stories so that people can hear your work. How about that? The first story we want to do is called Up on the Housetop. And I'm going to read the introduction that you sent to me, Corey, just to set the stage for it, okay? So, the Christmas holiday would not be complete without carols filling the air. Most Christmas songs serve to reinforce folktales of long ago. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Here Comes Santa Claus is Coming to Town, are all songs that herald the coming of everybody's favorite fat man. However, none of them quite explain how Santa gets into the house, especially if you don't have a chimney. So forget the Lone Ranger theme song. Cue up the Jackson 5 Christmas album for this hero's tale. Dad comes to the rescue for a traumatized child who realizes that his house does not have a chimney just 2 weeks before Christmas.
All right, now this story is a personal tale that starts in Chesapeake, Virginia, in the Deep Creek section in my backyard. At the age of 7, I had heard lots of different stories about Santa Claus, and you gotta watch, he's looking out for who's naughty and who's nice, that he's coming to deliver either a gift or a lump of coal. And the stories always intrigued me, and they always came from my father, from popular television specials that happen throughout the holiday season. Well, one song that rang true in our home every Christmas came from the Jackson 5 Christmas album. And it was, up on the housetop, reindeer's paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus, down through the chimney with lots of toys, all for everyone's Christmas joy. Ho, 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 who would go? Ho, 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 who would go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with old Saint Nick. Down through the chimney with old Saint Nick, with a bag of goodies that every child was eagerly anticipating. One day, 2 weeks before Christmas, my mother had the notion that we were going to gather pine cones from the 17,000 pine trees that existed in our backyard. And we were going to paint them to use for decoration. So as my father and mother and I were gathering buckets full of pine cones to decorate the house for Christmas, my 8-year-old eyes glanced up to the top of our roof, and the song flashed in my mind. Up on the housetop, reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus, down through the chimney wait, down through the what? The chimney. When I looked at my house, there was a stark realization that there was no chimney. There was never a fireplace in my home. Only 2 exhaust pipes that could only have been the width of the circumference of a baseball bat. There was no way that everybody's favorite fat man was gonna land on that roof with a sleigh and a bag of goodies and fit through either one of those exhaust pipes. I threw my head back, closed my eyes, and let out a shriek of horror that rang through the neighborhood air. My father came running, expecting to find a splinter in my hand from picking up a pine cone. To his surprise, I shouted, "We don't have a chimney!" My mother sternly looked at me and said, "We never had a chimney. What do you mean? We don't even have a fireplace." I know, but the song says, up on the housetop, reindeer's paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus, down through the chimney that we don't have a chimney. Immediately, my father went into the home, took me inside, and he pulled out the book. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. A few pages later he read, and what to my wondering eyes did appear was a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. A few moments later, there he stood, a jolly old elf. And with that, my father gave me a physical description of Santa Claus that would explain how he might fit through those 2 exhaust pipes on our roof. But then came the other realization. Those 2 exhaust pipes were both on either side of the ceiling of my room. He's gonna have to come through my closet and I don't want to see him. So with that, my father sat down with me, and I came of a certain age where I understood the true mystery of how Santa Claus really gets into the house. And I will not divulge that mystery to our audience today. But if you call us or you send us a question, I'll answer it off the air. And that was my experience with being up on the housetop with Santa Claus.
That's fantastic. Oh my goodness. How traumatizing for you.
Yeah. There's a whole lot more to the story because he said, "Oh, we just let him in through the front door, and the front door is right by my room, and we let him in through our window." And he still had to come.
You just like, I don't want to see Santa Claus.
Exactly. I wanted him to come, and that's most children. They want him to come, but they don't want to see him.
Absolutely,
So.
absolutely. All right, let's go on to the next story, and we'll keep the Christmas theme going for right now, and then on the other side we'll do our Kwanzaa stories. So this one is "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And December 24th is always a time of great excitement and anticipation for children. Christmas Eve anxiety can be compounded as children are often left with unanswered questions. Who is the mysterious man we know as Santa Claus? Is he really a jolly old elf or a giant who is larger than life? Explore the magic and mystique within a child's imagination as they have a close encounter with jolly old Saint Nick.
All right, I'll continue to accompany on the djembe and the bells.
Okay.
With the mystery being solved of how Santa Claus could get into the house, at that particular time, I realized that December 24th was right around the corner, and all the wonderful presents I would finally get to open them, and Santa Claus was going to come and visit. Per our family tradition, our Christmas tree lights were left on all night, and my electric candles in my window were left on as a marker for Santa Claus to know exactly where to put all those wonderful toys. I had taken care of all of my nightly duties for Christmas Eve. I set out a tray of cheese and crackers and cookies and milk for Santa Claus to enjoy. I had watched my last Christmas special. I had taken my bath, brushed my teeth, and I then went into my room, shut my door, and crawled under the blankets to go enjoy a nice long sleep before Christmas. The one thing I did not take care of is the one thing all parents tell their children before they go to bed. Make sure you go to the bathroom. I checked the clock on my desk and I realized that it was about midnight when this sudden wave came across my body saying that you must get up unless you want your room to become a flood. When I got up, I realized it's still Christmas Eve. And what if Santa Claus hasn't come yet? Or what if he's actually here delivering my toys when I go to the bathroom? Because I'd always been told if Santa sees you, he won't leave you anything. Ooh. Well, I contemplated what I could do, and then I realized that no matter what I did, I was going to have to get up and go to the bathroom. I climbed slowly out of my bed, and I opened the door slowly. And I was about to go across the hall to the bathroom when a light flashed and a huge shadow was cast on the wall, and I let out a silent scream as I dove back into the bed under the covers and shut the door with my foot all at the same time. I lay under the covers shuddering and shivering. I saw Santa Claus. I saw Santa Claus, and I hope he did not see me. And the clock continued to click. And as the clock ticked, my bladder continued to fill, and I realized this was of the utmost importance that I get to the restroom. So I crept closely to the door, opened it slowly. No flash of light, no shadow on the wall. I raced across the hallway, opened the bathroom door, slammed it, and used the restroom. And I made it and realized, but I gotta make it back. I stood there in the bathroom, washing my hands for what seemed like an eternity. Dried them, took a deep breath, closed my eyes, opened the door, and started to run, and the light flashed and the shadow cast on the wall again. And I was... The shadow was a triangular shape of a Christmas tree that had been left on all night long. And when I turned and looked, it was obvious that Santa Claus had been there, because the living room was filled with all the toys I had asked for out of the Sears and Roebuck catalog. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house there was one creature stirring, and that was a happy 8-year-old child who got everything he wanted that Christmas.
Oh, what a nice story. Autobiographical in nature, huh?
Yeah. That's one of our we do personal stories and historical stories. We do science-based stories. We present anti-social skills, stories about building social skills. So that's one of the series of stories that I do about personal tales, and a lot of them
are adaptations as well.
They're adaptations, and a lot of those feature stories about my father. My father and I were very close, and may he rest in peace. Yeah. But we were very close, and he has instilled a lot in me that reflects in the stories that I tell. My children are always, "Daddy, can you tell us a story about when you were growing up?" And he's always in the stories, and they were like, "Well, man, we wish Pop was alive right now because we would love to hear the stories from him." So this is the way to continue his legacy as part of what we do with Atumpan Edutainment.
Oh, that is fantastic. If you're just joining us, we're listening to Holiday Stories of the Season with LaQuita and Corey Staten of Atumpan, and they are here to share with us some stories now that we're going to be talking about for Kwanzaa. And we'll go right into that in just a second. I'm Barbara Ham-Lee, and you're listening to Another View. So tell me, what is Kwanzaa for those who may be listening who don't know what that holiday is about? Corey.
Well, Kwanzaa is a 7-day celebration of culture that occurs starts the day after Christmas and ends on New Year's Day. So it's 7 days long from December 26th through the 1st of January. And it's just a time to extend the family gatherings around food and festivities, and a time to get together to share stories of all types, be it family stories or personal stories like the ones I just shared, or you can actually tell folklore that comes from Pan-African perspective, meaning the stories can come from any part of Africa. A lot of our folk tales come from West Africa, where we focus on the stories that we focus on. So Kwanzaa is really about getting together and reminding yourself of 7 principles to guide you throughout the new year, and it's something that we encourage you to practice all year long, not just for those 7 days.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So our first story is called Anansi and the Prize Melon. And the intro to that says, Kwanzaa celebrates unity and creative problem solving to improve the community. This popular Anansi tale teaches collectivism over individualism, as the West African trickster spider from Ghana uses brains instead of brawn to teach an arrogant elephant a very valuable lesson in helping others.
Right. This particular story is featured in our Kwanzaa show this year.
Okay.
And so I will be actually singing in this song. So everyone turn your radios down just a little bit. And Corey, anytime you're ready, you can start.
Now, this story we do part of this year, the day after Christmas is when we do our Kwanzaa celebration. It's a stage play.
Where is it? And when is it?
It's at the Salvation Army Kroc Center.
It's in their Perry Performing Arts Theater.
The Perry Performing Arts Theater. Mm-hmm. And we have 2 shows. We've been at the Attic. So people, if you're used to us being at the Attic Theater, we are now at the Salvation Army Kroc Center Perry Theater on Valentine. And there are 2 shows.
In the city of Norfolk.
In the city of Norfolk. Mm-hmm. And there will be a 1 o'clock matinee and a 6 o'clock evening show, and an all-day Kwanzaa marketplace where you can buy local on that day. We encourage people to buy local. It's free. And all you have to do is bring a non-perishable food item to help restock the Salvation Army's food pantry after the holiday season. Okay. So it's dual purpose, and we have the largest Kwanzaa celebration in Hampton Roads, and it's the most unique because we do it as a stage play production. And so there are different ways to celebrate Kwanzaa. We choose to do ours through a stage play that focuses on unity. And as part of this story, the story it pays tribute to Solomon Linda, who was the person in the 1930s who was Zulu, who actually wrote the song Imbube, which means lion.
Instead of Weemawe. That's the way people are.
The people, right, from the
okay.
Weemawe, Weemawe, Weemawe.
Turn the radios down.
That's the incorrect way. We will be singing Imbube, Imbube, because Imbube means lion.
Gotcha. Okay.
Long ago in a far-off land, there once was an elephant who was famous for having a beautiful garden. Every day, the elephant would go to the garden and declare, "Everyone come see my beautiful garden. My mangoes are mouth-watering. My peanuts are perfect. My bananas are bright. And look at you, my prized melon. Why, you're as big as a baby elephant." Next to the elephant's garden was the garden of Anansi the spider. And Anansi couldn't grow a thing in his garden. Everything in Anansi's garden was brown. His bananas were brown. Ugh. His mangoes were brown. Blah. Everything in his garden was brown, brown, brown. Anansi grew tired of the elephant's bragging and decided that the elephant should teach everyone to help their gardens grow just as beautiful as his. But the elephant never took time to do so. So to teach that bragging elephant a lesson, Anansi the spider went up to that prized melon that was as big as a baby elephant, and he took a small rock and he tap, tap, tap on the side of the melon shell until there was a hole just big enough for a spider to crawl through. Once Anansi was inside the melon, he ate the fruit dry until he was too large to fit through the hole he had made for himself. Anansi was trapped inside the melon when he heard, "Everyone come see my beautiful garden. Look at my prized melon. Why, it's as big as a baby elephant. Surely it shows that I am the smartest, I am the best, and I have the greatest garden in all of Africa. Immediately, Anansi came up with a plan to teach the elephant a lesson. Anansi made the melon rock side to side. And as he rocked the melon, he began to sing. My prized melon! That's as big as a baby elephant. It can sing! And the elephant was so happy, he sang along too. The elephant stomped his feet and sang. All of a sudden, the gorilla was awakened. He swung down out of the tree and said, "Massa! Yeah. Massa! Yeah. Massa! Yeah. We have watched and we have listened from the mountain. We have watched with disgust while your technological advancements have been overseen by a child whose
I go.
Yes?
I think this is the wrong gorilla that you're portraying. I think you're supposed to be portraying the gorilla in the story of Anansi and the prize melon, not the gorilla, great M'Baku, the gorilla from the Black Panther film. No.
Okay, sorry. Let's rewind.
Thank you.
Who do you think you are? Why are you making all this noise first thing in the morning? Do you want to wake up Mbube, King Lion? And that's when the elephant told the gorilla about the prize melon that was as big as a baby
elephant
and that it could
sing.
Surely the hot sun has fried your brain, my friend. There's no such thing as singing fruit. And that's when the gorilla saw the melon rock side to side. And he heard the melon sing. The elephant stomped his feet and sang. The gorilla pounded his chest and he yodeled.
What is that?
All of a sudden, Mrs. Hippopotamus waddle, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble. She wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble. She wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble. She wobble, baby,
wait. I go. I think we've got off track again. Not waddled. I mean, yeah, we should do waddled with a D, like, walk side to side, not the dance. Wobble, baby, not that.
Okay, let's rewind. She waddled over from the river. My. Why are you two making all this noise first thing in the morning? Do you want to wake up Mbube, King Lion? And that's when the other two animals told her about the prize
melon
that was as big as a baby
elephant
and that it could
sing.
Oh, the hot sun has fried your brain. There's no such thing as singing fruit. But that's when the hippopotamus saw the melon rock side to side. And she heard the melon sing. The elephant stomped his feet and sang. The gorilla pounded his chest and sang. The hippo sang the high note.
You forgot to shimmy with the high note. You forgot to shimmy.
We're on radio. They can't see me shimmy.
Okay, proceed.
All of their singing woke up King Lion, Mbube.
Oh, man.
What is the meaning of all this noise first thing in the morning? You woke up my lion cubs. They woke up Queen Lion, and she woke me up. And now I feel like a Norfolk Naval shipyard worker who woke up without a 7-Eleven cup of coffee. Go explain yourself. And that's when they all told King Lion about the prize
melon
that was as big as a baby
elephant
and that it could
sing.
The hot sun has fried your brain. There's no such thing as singing fruit. Look at your melon. It's just sitting there and... That's when King Lion saw the melon do nothing, absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Because Anansi the spider had stopped singing and rocking the melon to listen to the elephant get in trouble. The three of you should be ashamed of yourself for telling such a foolish story. Go home and never tell anyone that you've ever heard of a singing melon ever again. And with one paw, King Lion swatted the melon, and it rolled across the garden and cracked against the elephant's banana tree. And Anansi was able to crawl out and hide amongst the yellow bananas.
Poor elephant.
My prized melon is all ruined. I am not the smartest creature in all the land, because if I were, I would have known there's no such thing as singing melons. But that's when the elephant saw his bananas rock side to side.
Hey.
And he heard the bananas say, "Yes, Mr. Elephant, singing melons are a foolish thing to believe in, but we bananas sing a good tune. De mi sadeo. He like, come and me want go. Me say, come, Mr. Elephant, he's singing bananas. He like, come and me want go home. The elephant declared, I do not have the best garden in Africa. I just have the craziest garden in Africa. And from that day forward, the elephant vowed he would never brag on what he could do. Instead, he would use his talent to teach others around him how to make their gardens grow just as beautiful as his. Even Anansi the spider. And that's what we should all do. We should all use our talents to make our communities a better place. And that was the end of that.
As you can tell, we have a good time with that one.
I'm telling you, I wish the audience could see you all because LaQuita is totally into it and making faces and acting out the characters and watching your face, Corey, is just fabulous. Oh my gosh!
And the good thing about seeing it live when it's performed on the day after Christmas at the Salvation Army Croc Center is that we'll have the cast. The cast will be involved in full costumes with the set, so they'll get to see the story come to life with dialogue because it's a stage play production.
And Corey is one of the characters, by the way. He is M'Baku in this particular show.
Are you done?
Oh, God.
Are you done?
Okay, so I think we got about, at least how much time do we have left in the show? I'm trying to decide between Anansi's gift or why turtles are bald. We have about 16 minutes. So which one do you want to go for first?
Well, we can switch sides because a lot of people are familiar, especially people who are teachers and instructors at schools and students. They've heard the Anansi tales before.
Especially the one we just told. It's a popular storybook.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And it's something that they study for their SOLs because all of our programming that we do as the dynamic duo is SOL based. And even when we perform with our ACT Dance Theater company ensemble, it's SOL based programming. So
I'm the dynamic one of the dynamic duo, by the way.
Yes.
Are you done? Are you done?
She wants you to proceed. Continue.
So, with that being said, we're going to switch over to Nigeria, to the Yoruba culture of Nigeria, West Africa, where there's Ijakpa, the tortoise, who is their trickster character. And this story is it's a pourquoi story. You heard a cautionary tale. What happens when you brag too much? You can learn a valuable lesson. And this time we're going to do a pourquoi story, a why story. And this explains why turtles have a bald head.
And this is an adaptation from some of our Yoruba friends, by the way.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
As a storyteller, you acquire stories from other tellers, and this is an adaptation of one of their tales.
Okay.
There was a time in Animal Land when turtles looked a lot different than they do now. They had their shells, they still had their forelegs, and they had their tails, but they also had a head full of hair. Especially Ijakpa, who was the king of all turtles, because he had the longest, waviest hair of them all. Now, Ejakba the turtle thought that his long, wavy hair made him better than or more important than all the other animals around him. So Ejakba the turtle never listened to what other animals had to say. All Ejakba the turtle wanted to do was look at his reflection in the pond so that he could check out all of his long wavy hair. Well, one day while Ejakba the turtle was looking at his long, wavy hair, he missed the announcement of King Lion, who was inviting all the animals in his land to come to a party to celebrate the birth of a new cub. Na sakanya mamagichi baba. Na sakanya mamagichi baba. Hey baba. Hi baba. Na.
What? Don't get carried away. This is a different story. This is not the Lion King. This is the story of Ejakba and why turtles are now bald.
Okay. Rewind. King Lion wanted everyone to come to his home for a celebration. And each animal was to bring food, song, and a dance to celebrate. And King Lion would give a special gift to the animal that decorated their drum with the best shells, vines, and flowers, or, as they would say in the Yoruba language, Tederenkonte,
Adonkonte,
Tederenkonte, Adonkonte. Well, Ejakba the turtle was not listening because he was still looking at his long, wavy hair. But one animal was Mr. Elephant, who told all the animals to come to his home. Each animal was to bring food and ingredients to make a big pot of stew to take to the party. And while the stew cooked, the elephant played his drum so that the animals could practice their singing and dancing. And the elephant decorated his drum with leaves, vines, and flowers. Or other words, they were called Tederenkonte,
Adonkonte,
Tederenkonte,
Adonkonte.
Soon the sound of the music and smell of the food reached the ear and nose of Ejakba the turtle, who stopped looking at his
long, wavy hair
to see what was going on. Ejakba could not help but get caught up in the rhythm and song as he got closer to the elephant's home. And he began to sing and dance in his own turtle way.
Should I respond just as slowly?
Yes.
Okay. Adonkonte.
By the time Ejakba got to the elephant's home, he did what we should never do. He jumped to a conclusion. Hey, this pachyderm's having a party and didn't invite me. You know this bald-headed elephant has always been jealous of my long wavy hair. To teach the elephant a lesson, Ejakba the turtle decided to eat up all his food so that his party guests wouldn't have any. So Ejakba the turtle went up to the stew pot and he ate and ate and ate until he heard the elephant coming to stir the pot. Ejakba looked down and saw there was still soup left in the pot. So to hide what he had done, he took off the hat he was wearing, scooped up what was left of the stew, and bloop, put it down on top of all of his long, wavy hair. And then Ejakba the turtle tried to make a fast getaway.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, snap.
Boom, boom, boom,
I'm busted. Ejakba! You got your invitation. Come, bring me your drum so that I can help you decorate it with Tederenkonte,
Adonkonte,
Tederenkonte.
Adonkonte.
But Ejakba was not listening because the soup in his hat was hot and it started to drip down his neck, inside of his shell, and down to turtle parts that we won't talk about. Ejakba began to jump and shake and shimmy until finally he jumped into the air. Woohoo! And when he jumped, his hat fell off.
Uh-oh.
Out poured that soup he was hiding. And guess what else came off of his head?
That long, wavy hair.
And all the animals discovered that day that Ejakba did not have long, wavy hair at all. He was wearing a wildlife weave.
Woo! I tell you.
And Ijakba the turtle was so embarrassed that he did what all turtles do in times of stress. He hid in his shell and would not come out. And to this very day, all turtles hide in their shell, not just because they're afraid of a predator, but because they're ashamed for the world to see their bald heads. That all turtles now have, thanks to their great-grandfather, Ijakba the turtle, who did not get his invitation and listen to know he was invited to the party to bring a drum to decorate with. Tederinkonte.
A donkote.
And that was the end of that.
I was not expecting the turtle weave.
I know, nobody does. Nobody does. That's what makes it so fun.
So we always put a little modern adaptation or twist in some of the traditional folklore.
Yes.
And that's something that you see whenever we perform across the Mid-Atlantic region. And again, even on the day after Christmas with our Kwanzaa celebration at the Kroc Center here in Norfolk.
That's the whole idea.
You'll see that modern twist in some of the traditional folklore. And that's what Kwanzaa is about. It's about being creative, using our kuumba or creativity to actually celebrate the heritage of African Americans.
Yeah, and a lot of people wonder, do they have to be African American to celebrate Kwanzaa or to know about it or to be interested? And you don't have to be. You know, it's absolutely for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's definitely an African American celebration because it's about African culture and African heritage. And so, but it's for everyone to come together because we also realize that we're in this community with everyone else, you know?
Exactly.
And so the whole point is unity. That's the first principle of Kwanzaa. And so we definitely celebrate that. And we have people in our productions and in our dance theater that are not African American. And we don't tell them, well, you can't participate in this or you can't participate in that. Because, of course, we're all inclusive. We have people that are blind, like Corey. And we have to include him because he's a founder, for one. And he's like the best storyteller we've got, number 2. And he's our writer, number 3. So we figure, well, if we can include Corey, we can
include everybody, right?
Everybody, yes. All races, ethnicities, genders, and preferences.
And different abilities. We do have people that we work with that have mobility issues. They may be in wheelchairs. They may have cognitive disabilities, different abilities where they might learn differently. And that's why in our academy classes, we really strive to incorporate our PVC pipeline and reach out to get those different modalities of learning within our organization so that they can go out and do the same. And we're passionate about that.
Because I read where you say that you're not disabled, you're differently abled.
Yes. To say you're disabled, we understand what that means in certain realms, that you have to say it that way in order for people to understand. But to change the mindset of people, what we strive to do is to show that even with myself being on stage, and people say that whenever they see us perform, you know, this was so inspiring to me because I have a child or I have an aunt or an uncle that is going through a situation where they're limited or they have a different ability. And I tell them all the time, they're not disabled. They're just differently able. They can get the job done. They just got to find accommodations to get it done. And that's something we strive to teach through our 3 Blind Mice Against All Odds series, through our 3 Pigs remixed Fractured Fairy Tale, through all of our stories. But again, just being on stage, I've just been told so many times that it's so encouraging to not only just see me as a person with a different ability, but to see a beautiful woman that's right there with me. Mm-hmm. That's my wife. And we tell them all the time, it's faith, family, and friends. And before she was my wife, she was my friend. Now that she's my wife, that's a little questionable. No, and we're still friends. And like I said,
and you can tell. And you can tell. You feel it between the two of you. Right. And I do want to ask LaQuita a quick question before we run out of time. So when you met Corey,
yes,
he was sighted.
Yeah,
and
we met
so
in high
you
school.
went through his changes also.
Definitely.
What was that like for you?
You know, it was. I think being young and being naive, it was not as traumatic as you would think. Looking back, you know, it was very difficult, but at the time it wasn't. You know, so when I look back and say, wow, that was a big difference. You know, Corey was driving. He would come over to visit me. I would go over to visit him. We would go out together. Sometimes he would drive. Sometimes I would drive. And to go from that to all of a sudden, he was just, and this is just a year after high school, you know, so he's in school. And so life was just completely different. And at the same time, it wasn't. And I think I just didn't realize that it was so different. And so I adapted. You know, when you're young, you change with the changes. And then looking back, you know, I say, wow, It was pretty magnanimous.
It's like love overcame everything, huh?
I guess so. Yeah, definitely so. I still love him. Somehow we're still here after 18 long, hard years of marriage. You know, it's been really tough.
And I think it's both of us have a
see how you just cut me off.
Both of us have a passion for the arts and education, and because that is our passion, it brings us together.
That too. That's still like the common thread, especially, you know.
Exactly.
Our music, our stories, our education. It still binds
So if
us.
someone wants to take a class or someone wants to get involved, who do they call? Where do they go?
They can go online. They can definitely go online because...
Tell us your website.
Sure, www.atumpanedutainment.com. Now, some people
Edutainment.
Edutainment. And if it's difficult to spell, they can also put in actdancetheater.com because that'll take them to the same place. CoreyTheTalentedBlindGuy.com will also take them to the same place.
And Corey is Corey.
Yes.
And then the Act Dance Theater the theater is spelled the Old English way, Theatre.
Yeah, and we'll start our sessions up again in January 9th at the Fred Hewitt Center on Wednesdays. And then we're at the Croc. We start our School of Performing Arts classes there in February, Mondays, and starting in February. So they can go to our website, they can go to the Croc Center's website, and those registrations are there. Information is there.
Fantastic. That is great. And teachers can go there also if they want to have you come to their schools or
Absolutely. Our education, our outreach page, it has lots of different ways to book us so that if they want to bring us out of state or if they want to bring us to Williamsburg, because we do so much programming there about 4 months out of the year, we're there maybe, 100 times. And then also if they want to bring us to a local school, we have local organizations they can book us through. And so this way, there's always a way to make it happen.
Multiple modalities.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for sharing
your
holiday stories with us. We really, really appreciate that. And give me your phone number real quick before we end.
757-525-9276. And so 757-525-9276. It'll take them to Atumpan Edutainment. There may be a voicemail if we don't answer. They can leave a message. We'll answer.
And she will call you back, I promise you, because that's how I being in touch, definitely. Thank you again so much. We really appreciate it. And during this holiday season, the Another View crew also says thank you for all of your support during 2018. And we've got a stellar lineup of shows for 2019. So everybody who's listening today, please keep listening. If you've enjoyed the stories you've heard today or want to hear them again, please visit our website. That's anotherviewradio.org and download the podcast. And you can make it a part of your New Year's resolution to sign up for our eView newsletter. It's a once-a-week reminder of upcoming shows. We're on Facebook, so go out there and like us, and I'm on Twitter at Barbara Ham Lee. Next week, we have the Another View Year in Review. So this is an opportunity for you to go back and listen to some of your favorite shows from 2018. Lisa's done an excellent job in putting that together. Our theme music was composed and performed by Jay Sennett. Lisa Godley is our show producer. Todd Washburn is our audio engineer. And Grace Douglas manned the phones today. Merry Christmas, everyone. And thank you so very, very much for listening to Another View.